if you do believe that the Bears can win this game outright, they're 2-1 on BetMGM. Currently, Washington is a 5.5-point favorite. But Aaron, I'll make you feel a little better about flip-flopping because I am backing the Bears in this contest. It is a hold my nose bet.
Yes.
I think Chicago can cover this number in large part. The line is moving in the right direction. I don't think it's going far enough. I think my model has this closer to say 4.5 to 4 because I think Chicago can at least cover this number. And it goes back to something we talked about with Sam Howell a lot, and it's all these sacks he's taking. And it's not just that, okay, well, you've got a defender who can rush through the offensive line and take him down after just 2 seconds. No, these are sacks that should not be happening at all. That's a big problem. And he's been in this game long enough to know to throw the ball away or evade pressure or something. Give a receiver a chance to make a play, whatever it is. He's just not doing those things. Instead, he's just taking sacks, and it's just too many of them. And okay, whatever you think of this, Bears pass rush, still though, sacks are a quarterback stat. This is Howell's fault, first and foremost, why he has all of these. So that's a big problem. I think, too, is that the Commanders, under offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, have the second highest pass rate over expected. So there's no alleviation to this sack problem. Like, it's going to persist as long as Sam Howell plays the way he does. His coaches and the play calling not going to save him from this. It's all up to him. And I don't think this is going to be remedied on a short week. This is something that may get fixed over time, but it's not going to be a quick fix. And yeah, I get Justin Fields may play poorly too. He may also take some sacks. But look, the secondary for Washington with Cody Barton and Emmanuel Forbes, they're giving up a lot of receptions. This is not your father's Washington secondary. It is not good at all. The pass rush is sort of blinding us from just how bad the secondary is. And it is possible that Justin Fields can build off of his performance from Sunday and make a game out of this, Joe.
If I had to bet a side, I would take Bears +6 if I had to. Good thing I don't have to. So I'm going to be concentrated on the total and some prop bets. My argument against backing the Bears, here's why I just can't quite get there. And there are a few different things. You're 100% correct about the sacks. 24 sacks in 4 games. To put that into context, Sam Howell is on pace for 108 sacks this year. The all-time record is 76. The all-time record is 76, and he's on pace for 108 through 4 games. The Bears, I know it's a QB stat. They don't get pressure. They don't. They have the lowest sack rate in the NFL. It's at 1.5%. They have a total of 2 sacks in 4 games, and they got one on one of their first plays of the season. Okay, so as bad as this O-line is, I don't have any confidence that the Bears are going to be able to get to Howell. They probably should a couple times, but is it going to be like 6, 9 times that we've seen in some of these games against Howell? No, I don't see that. The other issue is the Bears secondary. And this was an issue last week. This is why they broke down. Part of the reason they broke down in that Broncos comeback is they don't have anybody. They walked into this with 2 corners on IR. Their best cornerback, Jalen Johnson, is out. Their best safety, Eddie Jackson, is out. Somebody who was in the secondary, which is a mass unit to begin with, safety Jaquan Brisker, not all that good. Did have a good game last week. He's questionable for this game. They don't have anybody in the secondary. So I'm expecting Bieniemy's game plan to be, we're going to pass, because they got nobody back there. They're signing veterans. Last week, guys that they had 4 guys take 100% of snaps. They were out the entire time. They had a 5th-round pick. They had a 7th-round pick out there. And if you look at the 4 that played last week, and Brisker's one of them, we're not sure if he's going to play. None of those 4 have graded this season top 84 at their position according to PFF. So I think this is going to be a big day for Howell. That's what I'm looking for props. I'm looking at the receivers because I just don't see any way that the Bears secondary is going to be able to stop the Commanders if it's a Howell good game. Now he's been on off so far. So which Howell are we going to get? That is certainly a fair question. But guys, as far as side total, I've got to go to the 44.5. I got to go to over 44.5. The gap between 30 and 31, 31, 32 is Bears, Broncos at just about every defensive metric. There is a massive gap there. The expected points added per play on defense doubles from 30 to 31. The Bears are sitting there at 31. Like, they are just so horrendous. So horrendous. That's how you lose a game when you're up 28-7 late in the third quarter.
I feel for the city of Toronto. If it's not the Maple Leafs, who are always crashing and burning come Stanley Cup playoff time, or the Raptors, fresh off an NBA championship, they've just imploded. Now we have the Blue Jays, and having no faith in them whatsoever, they lose to Minnesota 2-0. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. gets picked off at the worst possible time. You'd think these guys have been in baseball long enough for that not to happen.
You can't win when you don't score any runs. That should be the lead here, but it's not the lead here. It should be the lead that this team, with all of this offensive talent that they have, couldn't score any runs in a do or die spot. But the lead is what the manager decided to do. And I got to tell you guys, at the end of this game, I was like, you know what? I just might not bet the rest of the playoffs because I've been getting my ass kicked. And I lost this one
time.
But I thought, yeah, I know it's getting back at me for the Orioles. But like, it was one of these games where I had right process, wrong result, because I sat here yesterday and I talked about Barrios getting yanked early on. Any sign of any trouble, he's going to be gone. I just picked the wrong bet. Like, Paul picked the right one with the under on the outs recorded. I picked the under on the strikeouts, and Barrios was so good that he went over his strikeout prop after one time through the lineup. That's how sharp he was in his first 47 pitches. He got 5 punch-outs the first time through the lineup, and it was evident during the game when he talked to the on-field reporter, Schneider did, and just like everything we were hearing and how itchy he was to pull Barrios. I didn't understand it at all. And then, there's a walk. We've got to yank this guy. What happens? First 3 get on base against Kikuchi. I could not understand the thought process there. Like, yes, you have to have a plan in place, especially in a do-or-die spot. But I'm rolling with Barrios. I know they're very scared about leaving him in for one batter too long. That could decide the end of the season and all that stuff. But I didn't see any reason to get that guy out of the game. I don't care what information they had.
What an idiot Schneider is. What a moron this guy is. Are you kidding me? As soon as they showed the relievers warming up in the second inning, I knew we were dead. I knew we were dead. Like, yeah. I get it. I get what the numbers say, and I get, like, Barrios' second time through the order against lefty batters, the slugging numbers were terrible. But, like, at that point, like,
let me see
he was so good. That was the best he's looked all year. He looked awesome. You have to roll them, especially if your solution is to bring in another starter. How many times have we seen a manager bring in a starter with runners on and it blows up immediately? Almost every time. Like, at least go to a reliever. Like, I know everyone, and you're right. Like, if you don't score runs, you can't win a game. But that's like a deflating thing to do. As soon as Barrios comes out, you give up the lead, technically the tie. Like, you give the Twins the lead right away. How are you supposed to bounce back? And Vladdy, I mean, waving to the dugout to review it. He's out by not even a country mile, 2 country miles. Idiot. Like, it was just so stupid. But as soon as Barrios went out, I knew we were dead. Like, once they showed Cabrera warming up in the second inning, I was like, Schneider's going to do something really, really stupid in the next inning or two, and then we just lose. So, you know what?
Why is this on Schneider? Why is this on Schneider? Like, the front office has a lot to say with, as far as, if a starter doesn't do well second time through the order, third time through the order, whatever, there are plans in place where they are telling the manager infrastructurally, that is what you are supposed to do. And look, the numbers kind of bear this out. Like, I don't have a problem with this at all. The lead should be the lack of offense because the offense has been a problem this whole time. Toronto should have been in contention to win this division, and they never really were because this offense doesn't have any pop to it. That's the problem. It's not Barrios getting yanked early. The pitching was fine overall. You allow just 2 runs, you put yourself in a position to win this ball game. Like, are we expecting that Barrios was supposed to go through 7 strong innings and not allow any runs at all? That's ridiculous. Like, that's not going to happen. So to
No,
me, there are
no, no, no,
far
no, no, no,
bigger
no.
examples.
You've got
There are far bigger examples of managers or front offices who yank pitchers a little too early. This really isn't one of them. The hitting was terrible.
What?
That's why
Come
they lost
on.
this series.
No, 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 no. You've got to be able to adjust. The reason Schneider's getting blamed, and I get your point, that this is on the organization. This was the plan that was put in place. But he's the face of the decision because he's the guy that walked out to the mound and he yanked the guy. And even when he was looking awesome, it was clear in the in-game interview, like, I'm pulling this guy very, very soon, very soon. There was no sign of any trouble. That's why I have a problem with it. And I think it was deflating for the team. Like, I'll rip on A-Rod as much as anyone, but he was talking about it beforehand. He's like, if they really do this, if I'm on the other side, I'm so excited because we cannot touch this guy right now. I need to see some sign of trouble. I understand the plan that is in place, but you've got to be able to adjust to the game that is happening in front of your eyes. And Schneider's getting blamed because it didn't look like he did that at all. Like Jake said, it's the best he's looked all year. Like, why am I going to assume, okay, now that they see him again, that he's going to go back to being awful until I see it? I'm not making that move.